Here in our test kitchen, we tend to think that sourness is one of the most underrated of flavors.
Well, today on WTF, we're going to cover 5 different acids and everything about them. Hello and welcome to WTF, where we transform food here in the Modernist Pantry Test Kitchen. I'm Chef Scott Guerin.
And I'm Janie Wang, the owner of Modernist Pantry. Today, Scott and I are going to be covering the topic of culinary acids, of which you can see we have 5 different types here. So we're going to go through with you some of the major differences between them, and then also, more importantly, do some cool demos around a few of the different types of acids so you can decide how you might want to use them in the future. So Scott, why don't we just start with a brief rundown of what acids are we talking about here?
Sure, we're going to talk about tartaric, malic, citric, lactic, and ascorbic acid.
Okay, and I think the big question that immediately comes to mind is, what's the difference between them?
So really, the difference is going to be in the flavor that you get from them. So lactic has more of a mellow flavor than things like citric, which is made mostly from citrus fruits. It does come from other things. So it has that kind of bright, kind of powerful acidity. Malic comes from mainly apples, so it has that bright punch of acidity, similar to citric, but they're not exactly the same. So you can use them differently. Ascorbic works great for helping preserve the color of food. So if you are making pickles, you can put a little bit in there, and it will just really preserve the color of the foods that you're dealing with. And tartaric is used somewhat in baking, but it can also be used in candy making.
Really interesting. And when people talk about, relative acidity, is there some kind of ranking on which one is most acidic, least acidic?
So it more goes by the pH. You're never going to just whittle it down to, okay, this is the exact pH of, on the back we have the pH at 2% in a water solution. So we'll actually have a chart on the website which will show you the acidity of all of these.
Okay, that's always a good thing to know. So because when we do cover multiple ingredients, sometimes it can feel like it's a lot of information, but it's all pretty concisely summarized on the chart on the blog. So if we want to kind of talk about common applications, I know you touched upon it a little bit, and we've prepared some demos. Do you want to go into what the demos are and kind of what we are trying to get with each of the acids in them?
Sure. So first thing I want to start with was we made things called fomentations. So it's the ability to take just the acidity, the salinity, and the bricks or the sugar content of different types of pickles and allow you to just add this one mixture. So the mixture will be on the blog. There's one for citric acid. If you were doing a pickle, similar to like a ceviche, if you were using just lime juice and some salt, we did one that's mimics the flavors of natural fermentation. So it has lactic acid. It has that lactic acid sometimes comes from dairy. This one does not come from dairy, but when lactic acid is on things, it doesn't have the same acidity as citric, like we kind of mentioned before. It's a little bit more mellow, a little, I want to say earthy or meatier, but it's not as strong, as potent as citric acid. So we have one that you can mimic the flavors of a natural fermentation. And then malic is the closest one to kind of making that quick pickle, that acetic acid, that vinegar pickle. So kind of just, for example, I know a lot of customers like to buy our lactic acid to use in vegan cheese making. So is that kind of an instance where that mellow flavor is better compared to like a fruity, bright flavor? Yeah, and lactic acid is naturally in cheese because of the milk content of it. So you want to use that. You don't want to use something that is citric because there's no, lime juice or fruit acid inside cheese. So the chart on the blog does cover, I believe, some common usages. So if you're trying to decide which one, you can certainly refer to that chart. We also, I believe, have a combo pack as well where we sell a few of these different acids. So if you just want to have them at your disposal, you can get them in a pretty conveniently sized value pack. Sure. So let's get into the first quick demo. Yes, of course. First little cup right there. Sure, and what's in here? So in there we have, like I did, I took a bunch of different pickles and I measured the acidity, the salt content, and the sugar content that's naturally in them. So this mixture is our citric acid. This is kind of like our quick pickle or natural like pickle you would make using ceviche or whatever you're making. So you want to use it in a 5% to the total weight of the product. So we have some red onions here, and I'm going to add in, and I already did the measurements, it's going to be 2 teaspoons to the 200 grams that are in here. So we can just pop this back.
Okay.
And then very simply, if you have a vacuum sealer or a food saver, you put these right into the bag, you put them in there, they're ready within an hour.
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
so it'll pull out all that moisture. But if you want to do it naturally, you just give it a shake. And you'll see by the end of this demo that we're going to be doing here, this will have started to pull out the liquid. So all the liquid comes naturally from the food, like it would in a natural pickle. If you put salt on it, it's going to draw out the liquid. That's what we're doing here, but we're also adding the acidity and the sweetness.
Okay, and that's really interesting because I know we did an entire episode of WTF all around fermentation. I want to say that's 112. So, and then that one we kind of talked a lot about the value of like having a lid and doing all this stuff, whereas now this is kind of a much different process.
Yeah, this is pickles in a pinch, you know,
Right.
fomentations. It's just a different way to make it. And you can see these are already starting to break down. Look at the color start to purge out of them. You can see up here. So after a few minutes, you're going to really see it pull out.
And how long should you wait, before you want to eat a quick pickle or a fomented pickle?
So it depends. This is going to take 24 hours.
Okay.
Before you really get all those flavors in there, the salt and the water are really going to equalize, and you'll have that nice flavor. If you were to eat it now, it's going to seem a little salty, just pretty much because the salt is just sitting on top. After 24 hours, it'll be good. If you do it in a vacuum sealer, hour.
Okay, and do we have to, if you're not doing a vacuum sealer, do you need to be concerned about like sanitizing the mason jar like we do in a regular ferment?
These I like to put in the refrigerator. I don't let them sit out on the counter or anything like that. But yes, you do want to just sanitize the jar naturally. You know, after you pull it out of the dishwasher, you can use it right there. But you don't have to boil it. You don't have to take this, then boil the entire jar to make sure it seals. None of that has to happen unless you're keeping it for months on end.
Cool. And I know that you can foment a whole bunch of different stuff. So what do we have foment? I can't stop saying the word foment. I
know, I was very happy when I made it up.
I know. So what do we have here with these wonderfully colored little mini mason jars?
So on the blog, there's going to be the different mixtures that we make if you want to have a different flavored pickle. But then we give you some ideas of pickles that you can make with the different types. So here, this is maybe our favorite, which is mangoes, mint, passion fruit, and fennel. So just little fennel seeds in there, and it makes this really beautiful pickle that you can then put on. We made like a goat curry, and it was just amazing, and that really just rounded it all out. We did some nice radishes. You can see the beautiful color there. Here are just some coriander and chili cucumbers, and then we have golden beets and red onions.
Yeah, so the mango is to die for, because that curry was great. And
and we took a beautiful picture of it. If you guys love that picture, leave a message in the comment below, and we will give you the recipe for it.
Okay, so that's what, because we're making so many recipes now, we're like, well, some of these people will have to see whether they want them. If you want them, we'll put them up.
Engagement. There we go.
All right.
So
what's next?
Other things that we can do with acids. Very simply, if you have some milk and you know it's getting towards that expiration date and you don't like to drink it past that expiration date, you don't have to just throw it away. You don't have to dump it down the sink. You take it, you put it into a pan, you bring it up to around 170 degrees. You can see it starting to create this film on top. If you just move that over gently, you take a little bit of your acid and you sprinkle it in there.
All right, which acid are we sprinkling in?
I sprinkled in a little bit of Malic just because it kind of has a clean flavor.
Okay.
But
potentially you could use
any one of these acids.
Okay.
Yep.
And because they have different, like relative acidity, like do you have to use more or less if you
you will have to use more or less, and we do have a recipe that we are going to put up on the blog for ricotta cheese. So you'll be able to see which ones to use. So as you see, it completely separates the curd from the whey.
Yep.
And after about a minute or so, you can really start to skim some off.
Yeah, and you might have done this already because in a lot of gift shops, they'll sell these make your own cheese kits at home. And this is a pretty common one that they'll sell. You're basically just paying like $20 for a box that has a little bit of acid in it. And that's pretty much what it is.
So a little added tip here. After you do this, you can take all this extra whey that is strained out at the bottom. And what I would suggest is put a little bit of yogurt in it. just a little spoonful of like a nice Greek yogurt that has a live active culture. Then, after a few days, all that whey will have the live active culture, and you can use that to do fermentations in a mason jar with your Sterilock lid.
Ooh,
so
very
you can do, whey fermented foods, and it really changes the flavor of them. It's a nice, cool little trick, and you don't have to discard anything. You get the cheese, you get the whey, and you can use all of it.
Yeah, and I think the first time I saw this being done ever, I was like, I can't believe how easy it is to make ricotta cheese. I've been buying it in stores forever.
This is only a half gallon, but you get so much cheese out of it. You can make plenty of lasagna if you wanted to, but what we're going to do is we made a little panzanella salad. So I had some leftover brioche from about a week ago. It starts to stale. You can tear it up. You can put it with some nice, beautiful tomatoes, because tomatoes are finally starting to come into season right about now. And then we get our balsamic pearls, of course.
Okay.
Salt, pepper, olive oil. And then we get our beautiful ricotta cheese. It's just made. Just strained, and you put just a little bit for presentation. And you have a beautiful dish that's so simple to make.
Yeah, so this would be just a gorgeous appetizer, you know.
Nice little salad.
Yeah, you do it at a party, and everything is fresh, and it hardly takes any time at all.
Really, you saw it happen in front of your eyes. There was no camera trickery or anything.
I know, and there's still more cheese to
Plenty more.
I don't know, we're not going to spend the entire episode straining it, but we'll just do that afterwards.
We promise you, there's cheese in here.
All right. Okay, well, and I know you got one more little sweet treat, which we always love here at WTF, the sweets.
We love sweet treats, just like Janie said. So I made Sour Patch Bears. We had to purchase a few little bear molds, and it was pretty difficult to devise how to make the Sour Patch Kid texture. But we think we were able to do it, and we added citric acid inside the bears themselves.
Okay.
And then a little bit of tartaric on the outside for that initial kind of like pinch of acidity.
Okay.
So you want to try one of the blue ones. Those are my favorite, blueberry.
Right. So
and we use our flavor drops in them as well.
Okay, so the outside is a combination of the tartaric and sugar?
And sugar, yes. Okay. So it's not straight tartaric acid. You don't want to do that, or else, you know, it's April Fool's.
It's good.
And it doesn't stick to your teeth too much, right?
Nope,
not at all. See, she's able to talk, so that's a good thing. But you can take any one of our flavor drops and then make whatever flavor you wanted out of it. So you don't have to be stuck to the lemon, orange, cherry, blue raspberry that you're normally getting. You can make all sorts of different ones. I love the grapefruit ones. Maybe one's stuck around the bottom, but
those
we'll
are
get
really
to
good.
those later.
I'm not sure which one that is.
It's the pink one.
Okay. So, you know, I think maybe just to recap, the thing about eating acids, and now my mouth is watering, trying to talk. So if we're talking about acids and people are like, well, this looks kind of cool, but like, if I can only, like, can I still use them interchangeably? I think that's still, like, the big question.
Yes, as long as you're going just for a little bit of acidity. If you're adding it definitely to candy making, you know, citric, tartaric, malic, you can use all those. With candy making, maybe you stay away from lactic, or if you're making vegan cheese, maybe you stay away from the the malic, the citric, and the tartaric, just because you want to gauge what it is. If you are, you know, going to interchange them, just make sure that you know what the flavor profile is. Okay.
And I think before we wrap up, maybe we can just touch a little bit upon the role of, you know, acids in preservation, right? Because ascorbic acid being a fairly common thing people use to
so ascorbic acid's great if you wanted to add it to guacamole alongside sodium bisulfite. It can really help bring that green out and keep it nice and beautifully green. It's going to keep the colors of all these different things. It just, you know, latches on and keeps the oxidation from happening.
Right. Yeah. But I think one of the things that people sometimes call in, they're like, how much, you know, like how much can I possibly put in here? And I think there's that.
There is a threshold, because
because
you can't just dump a bunch of acid in there. It's going to lower the pH, and when you do that, you either have to add a ton of sugar, which then raises your calorie count, or it's going to be sour.
Right.
So you need to really gauge where it is. Ascorbic acid is a strong enough antioxidant. It's an acid. It's going to keep it green, but you don't have to just keep pouring it in. And if for some reason it's not keeping, you know, the green's green, the red's red, whatever it happens to be, you may have to go to a different avenue. Okay. But you don't want to make it acidic just, you know, trying to preserve it.
Cool. Sounds good. So, you know, all this information is readily available. It's on the blog along with, you know, these really awesome recipes. We love the quick pickles, the foment, and if you do foment everything, please tag us in your social media so we can see what you came up with, because we love seeing that type of stuff. It's super cool.
And we can see how much these onions have started to break down, and there's some liquid in the bottom.
Yep.
Right? So it's working, it's doing its job, and in a day we'll have beautiful pickled onions.
All right. So we're going to just wrap up here and then take out the rest of this cheese out of this pot. And from here in the Modernist Pantry Test Kitchen, I'm Janie Wang.
And I'm Scott Guerin.
Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, like, comment, and subscribe. And turn that bell on because it notifies you when we drop a new video.
If you like any of today's recipes, go to blog.modernistpantry.com. There you'll find recipes, Ask a Chefs, and tips and tricks, and more.
And if you have a friend who you think would like this video, share it with them.
And to get any of these great ingredients, just go to our website, www.modernistpantry.com.
And until next time, we'll be here in the Test Kitchen, helping you create memorable and magical experiences.